Hello guys, in today's YouTube video I am going to talk about 5 different ways in which you can start earning passive income. These 5 ideas are really simple ways of earning passive income, and you can actually invest $1,000 and you can start earning passive income from tomorrow. The last 2 years the world has been under this COVID-19 pandemic, and if there's one thing that this pandemic has taught us, then it must be that being reliant on a single source of income, namely your job, can be extremely risky due to circumstances that you have absolutely no control over whatsoever. Therefore, in today's video, I'm going to talk about 5 ways that you can start earning passive income, which is actually income that you don't have to work for and that doesn't come from your job. Since I'm only talking about passive income ideas that are really easy to obtain and that only requires a small investment of $1,000, then you should not expect to be able to buy a Lamborghini next year with the passive income that you receive from these sources. You should see them as a really good way of getting started with earning that passive income and sort of like a step into not being reliant on a single source of income. If you guys learned something from watching this video, then I would highly encourage you to like the video, subscribe to my channel. It would help me out a lot if you were to do so. So with that being said, then let's start the video. The first example I have of starting passive income is actually to invest $1,000 into what is known as dividend stocks. When you're buying a stock, you're basically buying a very small fraction of a company. And when you own a small fraction of the company, you are entitled to certain benefits, such as dividend payments, which is basically something that many companies are paying 4 times per year. A very good example of a dividend paying company is a company like Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is basically paying a dividend every year of 2.76%, and it is very common for companies to be paying around 2.5% in dividends per year. This means that if you were to invest $1,000 into Coca-Cola, then you would be certain to make $26 within the first year without actually doing anything at all. It might not sound like a lot, and that is completely true. However, it is money that you don't have to work for at all, and you can absolutely do nothing and still get paid $26 every single year without doing anything. And that is what's super smart about it. On top of that, you also have the opportunity for your investment to increase in value. And if it were to do that, well, then you would basically be earning more on top of your investment. And that is when it becomes really smart to invest into dividend stocks. Historically, dividend stocks have performed really well during times of high uncertainty, such as what we have right now. Right now, we have this sort of like COVID-19 situation going on in China with major lockdowns, supply problems. We have the war between Russia and Ukraine. So there's a lot of uncertainty in the market right now. Other example of high dividend paying companies are companies like Wells Fargo that is paying 2.09% in dividends per year. And we have the company called 3M that is basically paying 3.93% in dividends per year. On top of that, then the S&P 500 market, which all of these companies are a part of, is actually increasing by an average of 8 to 10% per year. So imagine if you get that on top of your dividend payments, then it's starting to look like something. And even if you're not getting 8% in return on your investments per year, but maybe 4%, well, then you still have a total of 7% return per year because of your dividend payments. So it is extremely beneficial for you to do this. So the passive income that you can actually get from this is actually very, very good. Based on these examples that I've provided of dividend stocks, then you can expect to earn between $20.3 and $39.3 per year just in purely passive income from your dividend payments. The next example I have is basically going to be investing your money into something called a REIT. REIT basically stands for Real Estate Investment Trust. And they're basically a sort of corporation that owns a ton of real estate. Investing into REITs is very, very similar to investing into real estate and buying houses yourself, actually. REITs are a very, very special kind of company that is under very, very strict rules. And being classified as a REIT is extremely hard, and you must meet a ton of requirements for it. And one of these requirements is that the REIT must pay out 90% of its earnings as dividends to its investors. So that actually means that REITs are paying extremely high dividends. And when you're looking for passive income, then REITs become very attractive due to this payout policy that they have. Over time, REITs have actually provided investors with a higher amount of passive income than dividend stocks have, on average at least. And that is extremely impressive, and that is why REITs are a really good way of earning passive income through investing. An example of a REIT that does pay out a high amount of dividend is Realty Income Corporation, that has a dividend payout of 3.98%. Another example of a company is a company called Four Corners Property Trust, that has a payout of 4.46%. So you do see that these numbers are on average most likely higher than the majority of companies. And they're also very stable in their returns, so they don't fluctuate a lot, which is also a thing that we as investors really like about REITs. It is also possible to buy a REIT index, which basically means that you can buy into a single stock and then you own a very small fraction of every single REIT there is within the US. This REIT is called Vanguard Real Estate Index Fund, and this index has a dividend payout of 3.99%. So just by buying this REIT, you actually own a small fraction of every single REIT in the US, and you get a dividend on top of that. So it is a very solid way of start making passive income. The next example I have is actually going to be my personal favorite. It is going to be investing into index funds. Basically, index funds works in the way that you invest into a certain index fund, for example, the S&P 500 index. And then you basically get a small fraction of every single company within the S&P 500 index. So you get a really nice diversification of your investment for a very small amount of money. If you were to invest into every single company in the S&P 500 index, it will take you a lot of time and it will be extremely expensive to do so. Therefore, investing into index funds can be extremely beneficial. Not only is it very good when it comes to providing investors with a very stable and reliable return every single year, but they are also paying out dividends. And if we take an example of an index fund that is actually paying dividends, then we can look at the Vanguard 500 Index Fund. Basically, this index fund is tracking the S&P 500 index, and it is paying 1.33% annually. When it comes to index fund, it is important to remember that the majority of profit and passive income that you get from this investment should not be from the dividends, but it should be from the return that this investment will provide you with. On average, the S&P 500 index is increasing by 8 to 10% per year. So that on top of the dividend payment will provide you with a very good amount of passive income. The reason why I really like index funds and why it is my personal favorite is because they are performing so well. It is so easy to do, and they are very reliable, very stable, very good diversified, and they are actually beating the majority of hedge fund managers every single year when it comes to return. So basically, this is a very easy way to beat the professionals within the stock market. So investing into index funds can highly be recommended. The next example I have is going to be bonds. Basically, bonds are something that you can invest to as well. And basically, bonds are something that both companies and government, they can decide to issue. Basically, the issuer of the bond is basically deciding all of the terms. And when you're investing into a bond, you're basically giving a loan to a specific company or a government. There is something called the maturity date within bonds, and that is basically when sort of like the company or the government is gonna pay you sort of like the principal investment back. And this maturity date can be within a few weeks, it can be within a few months and years and even decades. So it's varying a lot depending on what type of bond it is. But basically you can go through a very long list of bonds and you can decide what is best for you. When it comes to investing into bonds, it is a very safe way of doing it. There is of course some risk involved, and if you are deciding to invest into companies, for example, well then there is the risk of default. So therefore the interest payment that you receive from investing into companies are higher than it is into governments, for example. When it comes to governments, then there is a very small chance that the government is not going to pay your money back. And if it doesn't pay your money back, well then there might be some major problems. That is far more concerning than your investment is. The good thing about bonds is that they are also very safe and very reliable. Because it is a set contract, you know exactly what sort of like income that you are going to receive throughout the period that you own this bond. So you know exactly the amount of passive income that you are going to receive, and you know when you're going to get your investment back. Bonds is something that I would highly encourage sort of like everyone to actually put into their portfolio, just to have a small proportion of it just in case that times get really bad on the stock market, then it's very, very nice to have something safe and reliable to rely on. Basically, what I'm personally doing when it comes to investing into bonds is that I invest into an index as well. That is basically tracking a ton of bonds. The index that I'm investing into is called the Vanguard Total Bond Market Index Fund, and it is paying 2.66% annually in dividends. So it is a very, very good way of earning passive income, but it's also a good way of diversifying your portfolio a bit. So all in all, it is a very, very good, very, very safe way of earning passive income. The last example I have is going to be something that can provide you with a very, very high amount of passive income per year. However, there is also some risk involved in this, and it is actually by earning passive income through cryptocurrencies. What you can do with your cryptocurrencies is open what is called a interest-bearing account. Basically, in this interest-bearing account, you are able to deposit, for example, your Bitcoins or your Ethereums or whatever it is that you have into this account, and then they are going to lock your cryptocurrencies in this account, meaning that you cannot withdraw them for a set period of time. While your cryptocurrencies are being locked away, you are basically earning an interest payment for locking your cryptocurrencies. And the interest that you receive is actually really, really high. You can receive all the way up to 10% on certain coins, and for the very popular coins such as Ethereum, Bitcoin, and other top 5 coins, you can basically earn between roughly 3 and 6% depending on what website you're using for this. It is a very, very good way of earning passive income, and the only downside to it is that if the crypto market falls a lot, you can actually not withdraw your cryptocurrencies and sell. And if the market increases in value and you want to sell as well, you can't do that either. So they are being locked away. And that is something that you have to know and that you have to accept if you want to earn this kind of passive income. This is actually something that I'm personally doing because it is such a good way of earning passive income. So what I personally do is that I put the coins that I don't need within the next few years into these accounts. So they basically just sit there and earn interest for me. No matter what happens in the crypto market, I don't want to sell these coins within the next few years. So it doesn't really matter for me that they sit in this locked account. So if you do have some coins that you don't really want to sell right now and within the next year or two maybe, well then I would highly encourage you to put them into an interest-bearing account where you can start earning passive income and actually make these Bitcoins and these Ethereums or whatever it is that you have work for you. I will put some links in the description below the video that has some websites where it is possible for you to open an interest-bearing account. That was actually my 5 ideas of earning passive income from today with as little as $1,000. Basically, it is a very, very safe and very, very easy way to start earning passive income, and that is something that I would encourage everyone to do. I hope that you liked the video, and if you did, then please press the like button below the video and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this one in the future. See you in the next one.